Hey guys, happy Panda Day. Not my favorite animal. My favorite animal is a sea otter, so I'm not going to go into anything concerning pandas. There's much more important stuff to talk about. Let's talk about how the fact that the very city I live in has been deemed the trashiest city in the United States. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I would agree that in the last year, it has become incredibly disgusting and unruly, but there are many parts of Portland that are still beautiful, and just look at the housing prices here. They're still high, and there's a lot of activity. There's actually a housing shortage in the area. So the trashiest city in the United States, I don't know. We've definitely got some issues though. Now, for those of you who do not watch KSOK Uncensored live on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, please do. And what I'm going to talk about right now actually goes back to my segment on Texas, where I had Ryan from the San Antonio, Texas area. And Ryan's family has owned for decades a ranch right on the border of Texas and Mexico. So he texted me the other day and he said grand totals in for February repairs, because they have to go repair all of the things that illegal immigrants do to their property, like cutting fences, cutting wires on RVs. They've tried to steal tractors and trucks and yada yada. But grand totals are over $2,000 in repairs just in the month of February. And actually, I'm going to have Ryan on my show just in the beginning, coming up here soon, so he can share what they've been experiencing on their property. Well, that's a perfect segue into a poll that just came out that says that 90% of Americans agree that those coming over the border should be tested for COVID-19. That is some of the most in unison feedback that we have received in quite some time. I'm sure you'd agree with me on that. It's very difficult to get 90% of Americans to agree on anything these days. But you know what it comes down to, which actually doesn't quite work for the argument on the left, but it comes down to common sense, which the left actually generally lacks because they think with emotion, not their brain. Heart, brain, right? But it comes down to common sense. You know, we've taken so many precautions here in the United States, too many, concerning COVID-19, yet we're going to have this fluid border and allow all sorts of illegal activity and disease to come over. It makes zero sense at all. I'd really like to have a conversation with that 10% that didn't feel it necessary for those coming over to be tested. I mean, yikes. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard of the Neighborhood app. Though I don't have the app uploaded and I don't look at it regularly, I do have email alerts set up. I did get involved in a conversation just recently, yesterday actually, with a bunch of neighbors. And the nice thing was, we actually agreed on the subject matter. And the subject matter was somebody that had gone downtown for the first time in over 6 months. And they were saying, oh my gosh, Portland has turned into a shithole. And they, in detail, went over everything that they witnessed, the homelessness, the fecal on the street, drug needles, all of the vandalism, the graffiti, etc. So it was really nice to see all of these people commenting, saying, yes, it's disgusting, poor leadership. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. So then, of course, I needed to do a political angle, because it's like, okay, so everybody agrees that there is a problem here. Yay, that's number one, because that's difficult to get to, especially in the Portland area. So then I posted something concerning you need to be mindful of who you vote for. The leaders and the DA are ultimately what drive the change. It's not we the people, unfortunately. It is in the sense of we need to vote for the right people to make these decisions, and we need to continue to tell our leadership, elected leadership, when they are not making the right moves and when we're disappointed in their leadership. But ultimately, we need to be well informed on who we vote for and put in charge of these efforts. And actually, I got so many positive remarks that opened up a whole new segment of conversation concerning voting and the fact that Oregon and Portland in particular need a change in leadership. And it was so refreshing. Somebody was like, maybe you need to run for mayor, which I will not be doing. Can you imagine? I mean, it went from an Antifa running mate who only lost by, or not running mate, Antifa gal, only lost by 2 points to Ted Wheeler. I mean, yeah, like I'd ever get in. But anyways, the point is that people are starting to see, and wake up to what's actually happening. And, part of this is downtown Portland, where the convention center is where people are getting their COVID vaccines. Now, I personally am not a vaccine advocate for the COVID vaccine, not enough testing. I'm just not really into it. Won't go into that detail there, but many people are going to the convention center to get their COVID vaccines here in the Portland area. And the good thing with that is it's forcing people to go outside of this bubble that we live in here in the suburbs and see what's happening in those parts of the city that they generally do not go to. I am hoping for more people to wake up, and I will continue to monitor my next door for posts like that so we can continue to drive awareness.